Welcome to All Things in the Name of Love. If you like this show, please like, subscribe, and share. Thanks. Welcome to another episode of All Things in the Name of Love. Today I have with me Melisa Caprio, who's author, photographer, radio host, and creator of Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation. And what she does is she invites people from around the world to participate in this movement by using photography, art, personal wishes, and desires, and sending them out to the universe via a postcard. Her inspiration comes from a desire to have a forum where people come together, thank you, in creative ways for global change. She is currently giving workshops on photography, art, transformation, and manifestation. She guides her clients on how to create a unique postcard for for added effect on the power of creative intention. This is what happens. I will read and then something in my tongue will just trip.
It happens to me too all the time. So it's
Thank
fine.
you. Thank you so much for being a guest, my dear. I'm so excited for the opportunity to have a conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Sophia. I was so excited to have this opportunity because like I was telling you before we came on, I have a radio show. So I'm usually in your seat where I'm interviewing other guests, but it's nice to be in this seat and get to talk about,
Yeah.
what I'm doing and my work and my book and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you about it. Like I want to start off by well, first off, thank you for doing the work you do in the world.
Oh, thank you.
Because I
Thank
want to
you.
honor that. And then I want to ask you, tell me a little bit about your journey. Like, how did this all come into being? And I know it's
Yeah.
like a small question.
Big question. No, it's a long journey, but I'll wrap it up short. So my background is in fine art photography. You could see some of my work behind me if you guys are watching, if you're watching on video. And that's my book cover behind me too, for anybody who's watching. So I started with doing fine art photography and I photographed, dolphins doing therapy with special needs kids because my sister, who passed away now 2 years ago, is developmentally disabled. That's how she's classified. Right. So I would photograph her and I would follow her everywhere and I would do all these things in her workshops and we opened up 2 group homes and my sister lived in a group home and I would photograph there and I heard that they were doing assisted therapy down in the Florida Keys and I'm in Florida and I don't live far from there. So I decided, hey, let me reach out. Would they be open for me, observing and taking some pictures if the families are okay? And I'll give the families the photos I take. And they said yes or whatever. Well, they really liked the way I did it, the way I photographed. It's very unobtrusive. It's not posed. And so they offered me a job. And so I had a job for 7 years. Yeah, it was great working at Dolphin Human Therapy as the staff photographer. So when that ended, now in that time, I had met somebody, gotten married, bought a house, okay, in those 7 years. And right when everything was ending, everything ended at the same time. So my job, they were leaving there. They were going to a satellite program, like I think it was Curacao or something. So the job was going to end. The marriage was crumbling. We were separating, and I moved at all within 30 days. Yeah. So
Oh,
I was, yeah, exactly. Oh, it's right. That's a good way to say it. Ooh. So I was in a lot of pain, really emotionally. I was in a tremendous amount of emotional pain because not only was the relationship crumbling, the job that I loved so much was ending. And I know people have their views on, swims with the animals. These animals were all born in captivity, so they've never been wild. And it's interesting because I do on one end see how they should all be, but then on the other end, the magic that I got to experience by witnessing it for so long. So I made relationships with those animals. So I also had to say goodbye to the animals, right? And all the people that I worked with. And it was just everything. And then moving your house, right? So sorry, you guys are seeing a light on me. I have a window. I'm trying to move to the light. So um I'm just devastated. Everything. Like, what am I going to do now? Right? What am I going to do? So I decide I'm not going to do commercial photography. Like, I don't want to go back into that kind of work. And one day I was, crying and praying and every day, what am I going to do with my life? Where am I going to go? Back with family. I'm thinking something has got to give. And I started reading about manifestation and the law of attraction. So I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. But that means that on the one hand, I somehow attracted all of this in my life. I'm the co-creator here. Like, why would I create this devastation, this like everything falling apart? So I guess now looking back, it was because I was meant to create what I'm doing now, which never would have happened without all of that previously happening. So one night, like about 1 o'clock in the morning, I heard, and I talk about this in my book and I talk about this on my show, very clear. Like it wasn't a thought. I heard it. Postcards to the universe. And I was like, what does that mean? Postcards to the universe. So I knew it was important. I got up and bought the domain name and I didn't know what to do with it. So it just sat there like for a year, like nothing. I just owned it. And then I met somebody who was teaching a law of attraction class.
Okay.
And from there, I met somebody else who helped me create my website and helped me write copy for what it is that I wanted to do. And I've always had this thing with postcards and handwritten letters and beautiful handwriting. I'm a lefty and I have really bad handwriting. Like it's very hard to read even for me when I write
Too.
myself
Me
notes.
too.
Do you
Lefty as
write
well.
yourself notes and go,
Well,
what
I
the
actually I have a dent in my finger because like I hold
Oh
pen like
my
this.
God. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
yeah.
Yeah. So I just love beautiful handwritten letters and I always kind of photograph them in black and white like as a little side project. I just always loved it. And I'm like, "Oh, well maybe I'll have people create like a mini vision board and they can write something about what it is they want to manifest. They could send it to me. I'll photograph it. And when that shows up in the reality, then I can share the story. And that's kind of how
Oh,
it was
beautiful.
born. But, it's now I'm telling you as short as I can, like what led up to it. I mean, this is a many year process. And many years after that, I decided, I wanted to try radio. And I never thought that I would like it as much as I do, because I'm a visual artist, but doing this and meeting the most interesting people. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
That's beautiful. I love that that I'm gonna pull into the spot where you got that guidance
Mm,
and how you had that inner knowing, even if
yeah.
you didn't know what it was, that inner knowing, that voice of, okay, you're gonna be doing this now.
Yeah.
And you don't have any idea what
No.
or why. And for me, it was when I got guided to take body talk classes, and it's a multidisciplinary
Hmm.
energy healing class or program
Yeah.
system. And so the second class, I'm sitting there on a Zoom call, and I'm using this as an example. The woman says, "Okay, I want you to tap in body talk access with this dog here." Well, this dog here on this
Hmm.
phone, and there's like 10 people on the Zoom call. So it's like she's holding it up here, but like it's that small picture thing. So I'm like,
Hmm.
look at the dog, and the dog's a puppy, and she's going pam, 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 jump, 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 jump. And I start tapping it in, and she's in Ireland, the puppy,
Mm.
and I'm in Oregon. And I'm halfway through the system, and the puppy falls asleep.
Oh, wow.
And I hear, "This is what you're supposed to do."
Mm.
And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So I take more classes, and then I get done with the 3 classes that I'm supposed to take. I'm like, "Well, do you want me to take more? Because, like, there's a whole bunch of other stuff I could do."
Yeah.
"You're open now."
Wow. So you heard it too. It's
Yeah,
different than a thought. It
yeah,
feels different than a thought. I can't explain it unless you've experienced it. Yeah, because I heard it. Like I was almost in dream state, but I was still awake and I heard it like really loud. And I don't, I got up and I said, I know this is important. I don't know why it's important, but I felt that it was important. So
yeah.
that's what I did. But you're right, because for the longest time I didn't know what to do with it. I'm like, well, postcards to the universe. What is that?
Right.
I mean, I have been already reading about manifestation and the law of attraction and co-creating, and that I'm, good news, bad news, partly response co-created my experience because there was a bigger thing that I needed to do.
Right.
That part of my life was over and I didn't want to go back to conventional photography. Nothing wrong with it, but I had just done it for so long. I wanted something different.
Right.
And what started to happen was I started to slowly introduce it, friends and family, and I would have people make postcards and then they would really get into it. And then it became, for me, it's a sacred ritual when I photograph the postcards that I get. It's very, so I usually photograph Fridays are usually my photography day, and the phone's off, music's usually playing, candles are burning, maybe I burn some sage or I have my oil burning or whatever. And I set up a scene in
Mm.
my studio and I really sit with the card and I really think about it and I really like put a lot of things that I have in my little creative toolbox on the with the card, and then I photograph it.
Mm.
So it's become like this. So I kind of feel like, I don't know, like I'm sort of like helping, like putting my little spin for the person who is wanting to create whatever it is that they want to bring
Yeah.
into their life. Yeah. And I get
That's
so excited when I get them in the mail. Like it's ridiculous. Like ridiculous.
You know,
I'm like,
I get that. I get no, I get it's a childlike joy because like when
yeah,
I finish with a session with an animal and they tell me what happens,
yeah.
I'm like a kid in a candy shop. I'm so excited. I was like, "Oh, really? That
Oh my
happened?"
God.
And it's that joy. It's that like because it's just a confirmation, that inner knowing
Yeah.
that you're on your path.
So do you hear like a little voice when you connect with them? Like, do you hear
Oh no, it's a whole
or is it like visual? Look at me interview you. Is it visual
I know, I'm like, no, no,
pictures?
no. Okay, so what happens is I'll call in my higher self and their higher self,
Ah,
and then I open, like you, it's a ceremony.
yeah. Yeah.
And then literally I'll just be guided through the body talk system for what they need for their highest healing.
Mm.
And I just write it down in my handwriting goes to, I can't read it. I'm like half the time, I'm like, okay, because at the end of whatever that transmission is,
Right.
tap it in as a formula. And then I usually do two. And it's like I don't know what's gonna come through because I'm just the conduit.
Right.
But like it's like sometimes with da da,
Mm.
and then I'll pause and I'll wait for something else and I'll hear something else and I'll just write it down. And
Wow.
the more I'm just present with it, I get stuff I haven't been trained in because I'm just open to it.
You're open to it because
Right.
it's coming from a higher realm, right?
Right. So
Now,
then
is it also with animals that have passed on, or no, just animals that are here
it's the animal, well, right now, because I'm
right
not
now?
putting
Right.
any
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Doesn't know where it's going to go
like
from
in this
there.
moment,
Right.
it's for the animals that need healing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I work with humans as well, but the animals have asked me to focus on them.
Yeah. Well, they
So,
need somebody who can speak for them because
right.
they try to speak for themselves.
But
And
it's trippy. It's trippy. They had me write an article a couple months ago,
oh,
and
wow.
like I'm watching myself dictate. I'm like, I'm not saying these like it's not me talking. It's not me talking. I'm
That's
like,
so
wow. I heard
fascinating.
press dictate, and I'm like, okay, I'll press dictate. And then of course the house that I'm living in, the cat is sitting outside because she hears me talking about animals.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
so so like I just dictated this article and it became the basis for workshops I do. And it's
Oh,
so trippy because
wow.
like I never thought I'd be doing workshops, but it's all because I'm tuned into that inner knowing. I
Right.
surrender, and that's the process.
Yeah.
going through is that surrendering to what's the next step. You have no idea
Yeah.
what it is, but
None.
it's the gift of being open and having that joy when you have that confirmation of what you're doing is exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So true. So
Yeah,
true. So fascinating,
I
the
know.
work that you do. That's really
You?
cool. I love animals so much. I kind of feel like I have a thing with cats. I don't know. Cats get me. I get cats. Like all the cats we've ever had, like they just are like I'm always like their favorite person. I just
Oh, that's so
I
good.
understand cats. I don't know.
You don't have
Yeah.
to. That's the
Yeah.
beautiful thing is like a lot of people get tripped up on like, well, how do I talk to my animal? Well, you
Yeah.
already are.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk to them more, just, start with your heart and ask your heart
Yeah.
to show you what a yes and a no is. And then you can build your intuition that way.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, they want us to, well, that's
yeah.
a whole other conversation. We're going back
Yeah, I love it.
to,
Okay. Okay.
we're going back to, so like, as you've like brought this into your field, you hear that voice,
Mhm.
you start doing it slowly and slowly and slowly. How has that helped you develop your connection with source?
That's a good question. Well, interestingly, I have learned to trust so much more. Don't get me wrong. I have my moments where I'm like, really? What I mean? Like, but I've learned to trust, and I've learned also, I think I've really starting to grasp divine timing, and it's really helped me because I'm pretty decent in patience. I'm the oldest of three girls. I had a special needs sister that we had to have. There was a lot of patience I had to have. So I already sort of had that. But there's still that this is what I want. Why isn't it happening? The second guessing, my guessing, then you start the negative self-talk. So it's really helped me be aware of my negative self-talk and to trust that if something isn't coming, even though I think should be here right now, that it's going to come to me when I'm ready to receive it. Because a lot of times I've learned that we think we are ready for what we're asking for, but we are not in the right frame of mind, or maybe emotionally, physically, we're not in the right space for it. And the
Mhm.
universe has I just say universe, but universe encompasses your higher self, God, Buddha, whatever you want to call it, your angels, it doesn't matter. I just use universe because people can receive that more, it seems,
Right.
universally, right? Universe, that the universe's wisdom is so much greater than mine, right? So that is how it's helped me, and it's connected me so strongly. Like I am 100% in my faith that this is not all that there is. Like 100%. Like I don't question that at all. Like when my body decides, or when I, leave this planet, go somewhere else, my soul is going. And I have eternity to accomplish all the things that I want to accomplish. So it's not the worst thing in the world if certain things don't happen in this lifetime,
Right.
you know, because I'm
Yeah.
eternal. My soul is
Right.
eternal. Right.
I
Yeah.
remember when I was little having an awareness because I didn't know I had past lives or anything like that, but I had an
Yeah.
awareness that I had a ton of gifts
Yeah.
and I wanted to use them all in this lifetime. I'm like, I gotta live a long time to use all these gifts because like I just
Right.
felt them. I didn't know what they were.
Right. Of
I felt
course.
them. And it's like, okay, so like, okay, I'm checking off boxes. I mean, metaphorically speaking,
Yeah.
but like, and it's interesting, like, as I learn another skill, it sort of weaves into the other skills I have.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, it really does. And I've gotten this recently, this happened for me because I talk to a lot of people, and people are always like, meditating is so good, and learning how to meditate. And I've always had the hardest time quieting my Gemini brain because I am an air sign. I'm in my head all the time.
Mhm.
So what I started to do was I started to go on visual journeys.
Mm.
And that has shifted so much more. So every morning I go on a long visual journey into a forest. Um, and all these things started to appear. All my animals who have passed on. My sister shows up now every morning. So I feel like I see her. My angels are there. And it's just getting stronger and stronger the more I'm doing it. And I'm like, oh my God, like, and I see how I got in my own way for years because I had an idea in my head that for, to be like what other people do is you have to quiet your mind and have no thoughts. And
Right.
and so I just went, oh, well, that don't work for me. I've tried it a million times. That doesn't work for me. And then a friend told me she was having a similar experience. She started going on a visual journey. I'm like, you're a visual artist. Go on a journey. You could do that. And
Right.
it like went like it clicked. Like it just totally clicked. And now every morning that is like my first thing I do after I grab my coffee is go and sit down and go on my journey. And it's been so healing. And that makes me feel even more connected to my higher, to the angels, my higher self and that realm. Yeah.
I love that because like we have like tuning it. Like I will tell, I audio meditations, hands down. I love listening to audio meditations. I love Craig Hamilton. He just has this
Yeah.
voice and he just like presence, 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 and I get it. Um, 2 weeks ago, for the first time ever, I've been, and it's been consistently like I'm doing quiet meditations.
Mm,
I'm like,
that's
whoa,
great.
this is cool. Like I've actually
Yeah.
evolved enough that my mind's because I'm an Aquarius, so like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like my
Another.
mind's quiet
Right.
enough
Right.
that I can
Exactly.
like be present with that, and it's like, wow, and it helps that I ground myself a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a cool big deal for air signs is to ground.
Yeah, it is. It is. And then I know that's why in my journey I'm in a forest and I'm sitting on the ground because living in South Florida, it's too hot to be outside.
Yeah. Well, I
So,
know you've got the humidity too.
oh, and right now it's just I don't even yeah, it's not fun. Yeah, right now. Thank God for AC is all I have to say.
Oh, we have triple digits in Oregon this week, so I'm grateful for AC.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, you guys are having a heat wave. That's
Yeah.
right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's I'm watering the garden before 10. Don't
Yeah.
exercise before 11. I'm like, yeah, because everything's in the garage. I'm like, yeah, and it's not gonna happen.
It's too hot. Yeah. Yeah. It's not fun. So I feel like my forest, like I feel it's fall always. It's always fall. It's like that brisk, but not too cold and the smell of the leaves. And I feel the earth. And so I am grounding. I really am.
Ah,
Like I have taken myself there to go ground
I love that.
because yeah, it's good. It's been probably the last 4 months that I started doing it. And I feel such a difference in my emotional state.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important because like we're especially in this time of consciousness where we're shifting so much.
Mm-hmm.
Had a friend post something that today there was actually a black line in the Schumann resonance today. I'm like, I didn't.
Oh, I've been seeing people posting about those
Ah,
more. Yeah. And I started to read up on what that is a lot more because I wasn't aware of it until probably recently. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I kind of knew about it, and
Hmm.
it's just like the frequencies that are coming in that are reflecting on the earth and how they're affecting us.
Yeah.
Whew. It
Yeah.
does
No,
hit,
and you
but
you you can feel it and I don't know about you, but COVID did something globally besides obviously the obvious. Let's take the
right,
obvious out of it. I mean,
right,
but
right, right.
something on a conscious level,
Mhm.
something shifted just the way people are now and what people are doing and I've noticed it like in both I mean, both good and bad,
Yeah,
like there's more extremes, I should say. Yeah, I
which is
noticed.
so interesting because it's the extreme is the duality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like the separation,
Yeah.
it's the illusion, which is what we're rising above from.
Right.
So I think the reason why we're seeing so much extremes is because
We
it's
have to.
we
Right.
have to in order to ascend into the unity consciousness
Yeah.
that we're all aware of,
Yes.
even if it's an unconscious level, we all know that even if we're different, we're the same.
We're the same. Yeah. Yeah. And I've talked to some people that have had experiences like or near death experience or something. And it's like we're all one. Like we're all one. Like to grasp that in our human form, we can't. Like you're there, I'm here. Like,
Right.
but once you leave your body, like we're all one. And it's mind blowing if you really think about it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you are a mirror to me, right?
Right.
You're not
Hmm.
separate from me. You're just another
Mm-mm.
aspect in a different body of the wholeness
Exactly.
of the connectivity of source.
It's
We all are in the physical
yeah.
form. And I'm an expression of source. You're an expression of source. So we're like
Yeah.
it's like this mosaic,
Right.
different pieces that create the whole. And within ourselves, the multidimensionality of who we are, I never thought about it this way, but like I love to bake, I love to swim,
Mm.
I love to hike, I love quiet, I love to have big gatherings with friends. These are
Yeah.
all aspects of me that not any single one of them
Right.
is dominant. So that's my internal
Yeah.
multidimensionality because each one wants to express itself when it wants to express itself, and then another aspect comes out, and it's like, okay, that's trippy too. And then
Yeah.
it's tapping
Yeah.
into like I was saying before, like I have a gift. I've been baking since I was 4.
Mm.
That came in from something else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to have that awareness, because I'm like I it's like I've been trained in culinary like
Yeah.
school before, like
You've
it
had
doesn't.
the experience in another life.
Right, so it doesn't make
Right.
any sense because
Yeah.
I've never had any formal
R-
training baking, but I
Right.
do it that well. And so, like, when we start, like, feeling into that, when we feel into our innate gifts that we can't explain why we're so good at it,
Yeah.
that's from a previous life or
I
life.
believe that. I believe that too. And I do believe also some phobias that make no sense may also
Oh, yeah,
be holdover from an
right.
experience in a
Or
previous life. Yeah.
epigenetics or yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That totally makes
it
sense to me.
gets trippy.
I have a friend who remembers certain lives. Like she has some memories from a couple of lives, and it's wild. And it would come out when she would meet certain people that she had another life with. I know. Like I've never had that experience, but that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I've had soul recognition before,
Yeah, soul recognition I've had before. Yeah.
and
And
that's
that
cool.
was actually my ex-husband. And there was yes, because just since we're talking about this, there's first thing like when I first noticed an attraction, not knowing him, but I had already met him, but an attraction, I went, uh-oh, you're in trouble. No, I swear to God, that was my first thought to myself. And
Wow.
I didn't even, it was such a fleeting thought. It didn't even occur to me. And now looking back, I understand why, because there's a thing that we needed to work out. And it was a traumatic, there's a lot of trauma there, a lot of karma between us.
Oh,
But
yeah.
isn't that crazy that that was my first thought? He was the only person I've ever had that experience with. Only.
I'm so
Hmm.
grateful that
Yeah.
I've had a few.
Yeah. I mean, I've had others where I'm like, I feel like I know you. I've known
Right.
you forever.
Oh,
But
I've come
yeah,
across people where
yeah.
I first met them, I'm like, "Okay, what lifetime? How many lifetimes has
Yeah,
it been
right?
we've seen each other?" And, like,
Yeah.
I have some soulmates. I just recently met somebody, and we were joking, she's like, "I know you." I mean, she came up to me in a store, and she's like,
Wow.
"How we've met before," and I said, "I feel that too, but I don't think in
But
this lifetime."
not in this lifetime, right?
But
That's
I mean, it
pretty
was
cool. Yeah.
familiarity, and we're looking at each other like
Yeah.
we know each other, but we don't know each other's names.
That's crazy.
It was
And
trippy.
I think that as we are evolving, more of these experiences are going to be happening for other people,
Yeah, I think so
Hmm.
too.
Yeah.
Because like we're just like I feel the consciousness shifting.
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
And it's just so cool because I mean, I'll give an example. Like, okay, trees talk to me. I don't know how this the
Mm.
energy is an energy.
I know exactly what you're meaning. Oh my God, that you said that. That's so crazy because I feel that's why I think I love the forest so much because I can feel the trees.
Right. Right. because you do, like, they will literally call you over, or boulders will call you
Yeah.
over,
Oh my
and
God, I
it's
love
like a
that.
energy that when you're
Mhm.
in tune with it, you can feel it,
Yep.
and it's just so freaking cool because,
It
like,
is. It is.
they're all trying to wake us up to help
Yeah.
us remember. I mean, when you had the experiences with the dolphins,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how heartbreaking it would have been to say goodbye to them because, like,
Oh, it
even more
was.
so than the people in some cases, I suspect.
Yeah, it was. And first I had to deal with the crumbling of the relationship. And then what it was interesting because I had done a lot of work. I got therapy, I got a coach, like I was doing a lot of processes and all this stuff. And, and then I was also trying to like get rid of the house. I mean, it was just everything.
Right.
So the grief over the animals didn't come till later. I had to go through all this other, and then it just
Uh,
kind of hit me. And I went, you didn't allow yourself to grieve over. I mean, when I was there, I saw there was one that passed away.
wow.
Yeah. And I saw two live births. I got to see two babies being born. Oh yeah. And it was a matriarchal society, and I got to see like Jeannie. She was the one that was in charge. And when the kids would get in trouble, I would watch them get put in timeout. Like a whole like I got to know their personalities. Like they all have different personalities, and I got to know them so well that I could tell who was who by their rostrum or their tail, or you just I got to see them so much, and who is like really funny and who is like a trickster. Like they have it was such a beautiful experience. And somebody told me that and I didn't know this at the time, but that dolphin is one of my spirit, like my totem spirit animals, right? It's been with me my whole life. So yeah, I know as somebody who did like a reading on me, and it was really interesting because I can see that now looking back,
Yeah.
that I cherish the experience. And they do want us to know what we're doing and to wake up.
Oh,
We need to
oh
wake
my
up.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do believe on some spiritual level, they sacrifice their freedom to give us an experience. And especially with these kids, because we didn't do public swims. There were only therapy sessions.
Oh, cool, cool,
Right.
cool.
So there were no public swims. There was some on the weekends, but during the week it was just the kids. And
Okay.
you could see the difference. They, especially the females, they love some of these kids so much. You could just see it. Like they wanted to like mother them. Like they knew something was different. Like
Wow.
whether it was a physical disability or an intellectual disability or whatever, like they would bond to some of these kids like I've never seen. So I do believe on some level, when if we make our choices and on this life, which I believe we choose what our experiences are going to be. So why wouldn't they choose what their
Right.
experience are going to be? Right. So they gave up their freedom to teach us something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that sort of helps me, like feel even better about the situation,
Right.
better about
Right.
the situation. Yeah.
Well, and that's with all animals right now. Like,
Yeah.
what I've heard in their consciousness is like they've been our emotional support,
Yeah.
and they don't want to take on our baggage anymore. They want to support us, but they don't want to be the dumping grounds
Yeah. I don't blame
for
them.
our emotions.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do in the sessions is I help them. One of the things that comes a lot is like, can you deactivate this? Because like I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So breaking the epigenetics of the
Mm.
patterns, I'm not doing anything. It comes
Yeah,
through.
I know what you.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
I know
just
what you mean.
catching myself when I
I
say
know
that.
exactly what you mean. Yeah.
But it's like they're done with
Right.
that old way of being, and they're stepping into, how can you steward me? How can you be my beloved attendant? How can we shift that
Right.
dynamic so that we're
Right.
interrelating and co-creating together in a way
Yeah.
that was supposed to be all along, but we haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, that makes sense because I was reading something about somebody out posed a question. I do not remember where even read it, but why do so many like of our pets get cancer, like dogs and cats, and
Yeah.
it about how they take so much of our emotional pain on
Mhm.
themselves. And when I read that I was like, yep, that makes so much sense. Because
Yeah.
why would they be, manifesting this dis-ease in their body? And when I say that, I want everybody to know nobody wants to bring disease on their body. That's not what I mean. It's not like you're at fault. Like I'm really careful about how I want people to understand it
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
don't want to think like, oh, so if you're, in a bad mood all the time, you're saying you want to get something and make you sick. No, it's not that. It's not
Right.
that black and
Right.
white.
Right.
But when we are not dealing with our emotional body, it will manifest in our physical body because our body stores it because
Right.
we haven't learned how to process it and release it. So animals taking it on made so much sense to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like they're just asking to stop for us to stop doing it because
Yeah.
it's heavy.
Yeah. I can imagine it is.
I
I
mean,
mean,
we don't want to process it. They don't really want to process
right.
it either.
Right.
So like it's a call for us to do our own internal work, which is what we're supposed to do anyways, because we get to clear out all we have the
Mhm.
opportunity to clear out all of the subconscious programs because we're all divine.
Yeah.
We just totally forgot that. We came in here
Right.
forgetting that. So like all of
Yeah.
our questions of worthiness and
Yeah.
all of that, that's the illusion.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
all worthy.
That makes total sense. That
Yeah.
makes total sense. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a fun like it's fun to see how things are shifting and how all of life is kind
Hmm.
of like whacking us upside the head a little bit and saying, okay, now it's time to like
Yeah.
get out of the old way of being into
Yeah.
your divinity,
Hmm.
which means that you get to do your inner work.
Yeah.
You get to like learn that you're a spiritual being in a human body. Um, Connect with your heart more, connect with your feelings more, not in the sense that you get trapped in your story,
Right. Good
but
point.
to feel the feelings without the story.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree with you. And I think I always say it's time for us to grow up
Mhm.
because we're not in the, like the 2, 3-year-old tantrum throwers, that's what we've been for a long time. It's time for us to like grow up,
Yeah.
and mature. Right. And I
Now,
think everybody is longing to do that. We are longing to do that. Yeah. Hmm.
and now we actually have the tools to do it with,
Right.
which is
Right.
amazing
Yeah.
because we didn't for so long.
Right.
Even
Yeah.
our parents didn't really know how to do it.
Mm-mm.
And a lot of people in my generation don't know how to do it.
Exactly. Exactly. It's true. It's true. But interesting if you listen to a lot of the young, I mean, I know people make fun of the younger generations, we're all like Gen Z, Gen X, millennials. But it's interesting if you look at some of the conversations that younger people are having that I didn't have as a kid. I was always into this kind of stuff though, because I used to go to crystal shops when I was a kid. When I was like in high school, I used to love them and all those books. I think I first read like Edgar Casey, like that was like the first introduction, So like I've always been into it, but yeah, we never had these kind of conversations.
No,
No.
no,
But my niece, who's 14, she's has these conversations and she's got so much wisdom. And I look at her and I'm like, oh my God, it's just amazing to me,
yeah, that's
That gives
awesome.
me hope for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because it's so cool. Like I didn't have I would have loved a crystal shop. But I didn't. Because Fairfield County in the 70s,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
really that many crystal shops in Connecticut. So yeah, but like I know that because I would have loved to have had conversations like that when I was 10,
Yeah.
12, because I
Yeah.
felt so alone.
Yeah.
To know that that's actually shifting is really, really beautiful.
Yeah. I know. I think so too. I
And
think
then we
so.
can have conversations like this too. I mean,
Oh yeah. That's why I fell in love with doing the radio so much and being on the podcasts like yours is because most people don't talk like this, and so many people I meet the most interesting people, and they're all over the world now, just because of the internet and where the
Right.
connection now, how we're connected. And that's the thing I love about it, you know? Yeah.
I
There's
totally.
things I'm not crazy about with the social media, but this I love.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Well, and we get to choose,
And we
right?
get to choose. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's an interesting thing too, is like it doesn't matter where we put our focus, if it's food, if it's politics, if it's social media, if it's whatever we put our focus on is what we
Hmm.
attract in.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I want to have conversations with like-minded people that carry light to have those experiences.
Right. Because whatever we focus on expands. And if you keep focusing on what you don't want, you get more of what you don't want.
Right.
And I know that's a hard one for like to grasp, and it took me a minute to grasp it. But like, what do you mean? Of course I don't want to be going through a divorce. No, I don't want to be losing the job I love. What are you, crazy? Like, but the more I'm thinking of like, no, why is this happening? No, I don't want this. I don't want this. The more it was coming. It was coming
Right.
at me, right?
Right.
So if you're worried, if you're at home and you're worried about, let's say, money, for example, and you keep focusing on, I don't have enough money to pay my bills, I don't have enough money, how am I going to get the money? And that's all you're thinking of. You're going to keep bringing that energy of lack more and more and more and more. Situations will happen. Your car will break down, or your dishwasher breaks, like where you have to put out more money that you in your mind are saying, I don't even have the money for this.
Hmm.
And we have to watch ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's that gift of watching ourselves in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the program?
What is the program? Yeah.
And then like for me, because I've had the opportunity to do a lot of somatic work.
What is somatic work again?
It's like
And
listening to your body.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
listening to your
Yeah.
body
Mhm.
and listening to the emotions within your body so you can
Okay.
feel them and release them.
Yeah.
Um, so like really tuning into like asking my body, where is this sitting in me? And just be present to that and like feel the
Mm-hmm.
spot that it is and see if
Yeah.
there's any like and as you tune into it, it's gonna shift into another, like let's say it's in my belly and then it goes to my shoulder,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
yeah, like just feeling it until it finally releases. That for me has been incredibly important because I numbed myself out with distractions for too many years.
Me too. Me
Um,
too.
and so to be present in my body and be like, wow, I've got an amazing body. This is incredible.
I
Um,
know. I know. We take it for granted because
yeah.
yeah, I talk a lot about mirror work, and that's what my second book is a lot about, doing mirror work, because the first thing we do when we get in front of the mirror is criticize ourselves, and
Right.
our body registers that.
Mhm.
Right. So yeah, yeah. And we have to. And it's funny that you said that, because I've gotten better since the work that I've been doing about seeing where I hold my stuff, and it's stomach and sternum. That's where I feel like if I'm feeling resentful or angry,
Mhm.
I feel it there. And so what I've been doing in my morning meditations now is going through old resentments.
Cool.
And I have a dragon that's actually shown up, so my dragon helps
Oh,
me,
that's
and my
awesome.
angels, but I can feel them untying the rope, like pulling, and I visualize it pulling it, like loosening it. So that's been helping me, because I feel where it is in my body, and then
Yeah.
I ask for assistance. I ask my
Right.
guides for assistance, and
Mhm.
they help me do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's an important thing too, because we
Yeah.
have so much non-physical support.
Yeah.
Can't do anything if we don't ask.
Right. Yeah. Got to ask. Yeah, exactly. And you're going to be surprised once you start asking all these things that start to show up. Like they're
Mhm.
like waiting for you to ask. They're like,
Right.
hello, we're waiting for you.
Right. Any
Yeah.
second now, you're gonna wake up and realize that you're not alone.
Yeah,
And when
exactly.
you have that, and that's also like for me, because brain, um, to
Right.
rely on my heart connection,
Mm-hmm.
feel, and not be able to quantify it.
Yeah.
That's been
Yeah.
so cool because like my left brain is always like a little misquantify.
Mm-hmm.
Love
Yeah.
you. I love you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's exhausting sometimes. Like when I go into sessions, like I'm in consciousness. I'm completely not here. I'm
Yeah,
just
you move yourself out.
right.
Yeah.
And so because if I don't, this questions.
Mm-hmm.
So for a while I was studying quantum physics to help my left brain understand what I already knew.
Yeah.
It's like
Isn't it interesting how quantum physics is also starting to explain all this better for people like who are like that, who always have to
right,
understand it and
right,
see it like, okay, well, we're starting to be able to show you how it works,
right.
which is really cool.
I don't understand the calculations,
Right.
but I understand the language. I understand how
Yeah.
it's explained. So it's like, okay, this actually makes
Yeah.
sense to
Yep.
part of me that needs to have the explanation, but I already know it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's wild. I know that's why I love to listen to Joe Dispenza because
Mhm.
he talks a lot about that. Yeah, and how he healed his own body. It's almost like you're channeling. You sound like you're doing a little bit of channeling. Yeah, which is kind of cool.
It's channeling in a controlled way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what's wild is like I've always worked with pictures.
Hmm.
I can feel it. I can tune into the energy of the picture. Well, recently, a woman reached out for me to work on her sheep.
Mm. Oh,
So amazing. I felt the energy of the sheep before I got the picture.
wow.
And so I started doing the session, and then she sent me the picture after I sent her the session.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, What was that?" Because like it's just more and more tapping into consciousness. So like, and when I finished the session, I actually felt the energy of the sheep give my heart a big hug, and I just cried. I was like,
Oh,
I've never felt that gentle of a love.
oh, I would cry too.
She's
I
a
would cry
sheep.
too.
I mean, she was
Yeah.
a sheep, and it was just like this big old thank you. I'm so grateful for you, without words, but it was all in my
Yeah.
heart.
You could
Oh,
feel it. That's
can I have
amazing.
that every day? Like that level of gentle love, that
Yeah.
yes, please, I'll receive that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I know.
and so like I don't know, as we're shifting, like I actually I woke up from a dream and I was telepathic and I was like, interesting. Because we have all these clear abilities.
We do. And
We
it's just learning how to tap into them.
right. So like apparently that's gonna be the next one that comes online, which I think is really fascinating. I
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it is really fascinating.
don't
Well, I know that definitely I feel there's I get some, yeah, like some, I guess I'm Claire, like I'm starting to see more of the Claires. Like I don't know if I hear it, I just know it. Whatever is
yeah,
a knowing, whatever
claircognizance, I think it
Claire
is.
cognizance. I
Yeah.
think that's growing a lot for me.
Yep.
And I do sometimes see things. I don't know, like I'll have these like fish see things. I don't know. I
Yep.
don't know exactly what they are yet,
I've had
but
visions.
I'm open. I'm like, okay, it's
Right.
okay. I'm open. That's fine.
I've had visions. I definitely have the knowing. I've sensed things.
Yeah.
Um, I used to when I like for like 30 years when I was shutting everything else down, I would get lyrics to songs.
Yeah.
And my former partner was like, "You listen to songs? Why would you listen to the lyrics of songs?" I'm like, "Why
I
would
know I'm
you listen
getting
to
them.
the lyrics of
Right.
songs?"
Yeah. I
Because
guess clairaudient. Yeah. Cause you're hearing things. I mean, I
yeah,
heard the postcards very strongly.
yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. It's pretty
So
cool.
I haven't heard songs in a while, but other things are coming online right now. So the fact that I'm hearing, I,
That's
I'm
good.
open to receiving it, but like, does that mean I have to hear everybody else's thought? I don't really
Yeah. Right.
like. Can we put some boundaries here? Because I don't really
Well,
want.
I say that to like the people that I speak to that are mediums,
Uh,
and then they connect with people who have passed over. I'm like, do you have to tell them like I'm in the shower right now? Like, like you can't come in. Like, leave me
right,
alone, right?
right, yeah, because it's like it's a weird thing. Like I've just
Right.
noticed in the past week, I've started having lucid dreams.
That's really cool.
This is really
I've had
interesting.
that. I had a couple of those in my life, but not very often. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
I haven't had
wild.
them
Yeah.
often, but it's like, wow, this is really. So I know things are shifting.
Things are shifting. Yeah. I feel that way too. I think things are shifting. I can feel it. Yeah.
What's the most obvious thing you felt about the shifts?
Well, I've noticed that like we tapped on it about like the separation.
Mm,
Like I've noticed there's been a great separation, right? And I've noticed that you know, I'm obviously more on the side, you know what side more I am on, because I'm having these conversations, people that believe in, you know, not like you, it has to be segregated religion. Like I believe that you're spiritual or whatever, you know. I noticed that when I talk to those people and the people that are doing similar work that you're doing and I'm doing, there is a sense of hope, and they see that we're going, even though if you look at the news, that's not what you're seeing.
Right.
But there's such a level of knowing that it's going in the direction it needs to go.
Yeah.
You know, like more than I ever have before, even though we're in this great separation. Because
Right.
if you look at, if you're on the other side of it and you're more into the dark part of it, they are becoming more and more knowing in their darkness that they're living in, right?
Right.
So I feel like, yeah, I just feel like things are going to be all right, you know, and I believe everybody gets there eventually. You know, maybe the people that are in the darkness right now need to be in the darkness for their own journey, but will eventually get to the light.
Right.
Might not be for, you know, a while, but so I feel like that has been a big shift. Where before it was less of a knowing, if that makes sense. Like always, like when people were always talking about, you know, this kind of stuff, it was like less of a, like, what does our future hold? And like the knowing didn't seem as strong as it is now. Yeah. To me, that's what I
Oh,
get.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've been feeling it too, and it's like I can't quantify it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
just this awareness of wow, things are really shifting. And
Yeah.
you know, if we're seeing spikes and strange anomalies in the Schumann, something's
Yeah.
happening. I don't,
Something.
again, I don't really understand what it is that's happening. I just sense and feel and know it.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and I have no physical evidence to prove it.
Right. And that's
Because
the
if you
beautiful
look
thing.
at the physical evidence of what we're being shown, you wouldn't say that. You would
Right.
say, "Oh, you know, the world's never been as bad as it's ever been, you know, as in this time." And is it really though? Is it
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I think,
No.
yeah, I think it's better than it's ever been. We just haven't seen the physical manifestation yet.
Right.
Yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, yeah, I always
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
somebody
I mean,
else.
we're seeing our little spots, like when we have
Right.
these conversations, and
Right.
yeah, but like, I mean, on a global scale, we haven't seen it yet. Yeah,
But it's
yeah,
coming.
it's coming. Yeah,
Feel it.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah,
And so that's the fun thing is like just surrendering to that trust.
yeah, yeah. You have to have trust and faith that it's all going to work out. Yep.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean you're going to not have any pain in your life or trauma but you know, it's all going to eventually work out for your highest good. Yeah.
And even the pain and the trauma is for you to experience to get to the other side of it.
Right. Yeah. You have to. Unfortunately, you do. Usually, I mean, how much, I mean, I think more than anything else, pain propels you so much more than anything else. Because when you're in such deep pain, you start looking for ways to get out of it. And that's when you start asking questions. And
Yep.
that's when things start showing up for you.
Right.
Like when they say, well, we've been waiting for you to ask the question. Now you're asking them because you're suffering so bad, right?
Right. We could have answered that without the suffering.
Right. You don't have to suffer,
No, you
but
don't have to suffer,
humans
but
are hard headed. So,
sure.
right. Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh my gosh, I just look at the time. So okay. So I'm having too much fun with you.
Yeah.
But
No, it's great
also we're
conversation.
fun. So I want to ask you the question, how do people
Okay. Oh, yeah. So that's really easy. So if you go to Postcards to the Universe, you'll find me, and everything is under Postcards. So I have my radio shows under Postcards. I'm doing a new show on Ethereal TV. That's Postcards to the Universe with Melissa. So I have two shows.
Awesome.
My book, just show a copy of my book. You can also see it behind me in my book, everything, all my social media. And I tell people if they want to sign up for my newsletter, I am not a email person that sends like I maybe a couple times a year you'll get like an email thing from me. It's
Awesome.
that you get a gift of how to create a manifesting postcard. I mean, I do already have it on my website, but I get into more detail. And then I have the 8 steps of manifesting, like a free gift. So you sign up to my newsletter and it shows you how, to manifest and fun things you can do. And if you have any questions, my email's on there. You can reach out to me. My radio show is on Om Times Radio on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. and it's live. So I do my radio show live. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Listen. And then all the podcasts that I do are on my website. Like I said, everything's on postcards2theuniverse.com. And if you want to create a manifesting postcard, which I highly hope whoever's listening does, because there's so much fun to do it. The address is on there. And if you need help or have any questions, just reach out and ask me and I'll help you. Yeah.
Listen, thank you so, so much.
Oh, you're welcome. This has been fun. It has been a fun conversation. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks.
for your beingness and thank you for all that you do in the world.
Oh, thank you. You too, Sophia. Thank you.